So Mike is going to be 58. Jake is going to be 28. Jake's active. You see Mike run. It doesn't look like his knees are in good shape.
Mike Tyson defies the generational gap to face young contender Jake Paul in a thrilling boxing showdown. UFC commentator Joe Rogan talks about older athletes, specifically fighters, and whether they should be allowed to continue competing as they age. He starts by saying that people should be free to do whatever they want, even if it's risky, like slap fighting or riding bulls. He believes that as long as fighters pass medical exams, they should be allowed to fight, regardless of their age. Rogan compares fighting to other dangerous activities, like BMX or skateboarding, where people often get seriously injured, yet these activities are still legal. Rogan mentions that while Tyson can still hit pads, his knees don't look good when he runs, possibly due to the wear and tear from his long boxing career. Rogan points out that Tyson might just have awkward body mechanics, which could explain why his movements look stiff or unnatural. Moreover, Joe Rogan discusses how Mike Tyson is likely using treatments to manage his physical condition at his age. He mentions that Tyson is probably undergoing therapies like stem cell injections, which aim to repair damaged tissues, and peptides, which can help with muscle recovery and overall health. Additionally, Tyson might be using hormones to maintain his physical abilities and combat the natural decline that comes with aging. Furthermore, former professional boxer Johnny Nelson expresses hope that Mike Tyson is getting paid a significant amount of money if he decides to fight Jake Paul. He suggests that Jake Paul might be taking advantage of Tyson's age, noting that while Tyson was an aggressive fighter in his prime, time is something that cannot be cheated.
Oof. What do you make of it?
Well, number one, I hope he's getting paid a hell of a lot of money, number one. Number two, do I believe it could be like a tickling competition? I think maybe Jake Paul would take advantage and think, now I'm jumping on him. Mike's around my age. He wasn't a mover when he boxed. He was an aggressive fighter.
Johnny Nelson talks about the challenges Mike Tyson would face if he decides to fight Jake Paul. He argues that even though Tyson's name carries a lot of weight, it's important to think about whether it's worth the risk. Nelson makes a comparison, saying that while he himself could outbox younger, inexperienced fighters because of his experience and skill, Tyson would struggle because of his age. He emphasizes that youth brings energy and movement that can be hard to counter, especially for an older fighter like Tyson. Nelson is concerned that Tyson might be outmatched, and he advises against going through with the fight. He also mentions that the uncertainty about whether the fight is an exhibition or a real competition could be intentional, as it keeps people talking about it. In addition, Nelson expresses doubts about the fight happening and questions its legitimacy.
Works out for Mike. I won't do it. Just don't do it, man.
Do you have concerns? I know they've not put whether it's an exhibition or not, and maybe that's part of the plan to make people like what we're doing now. We're talking about it regardless.
I don't believe it'll happen. I just don't. How could it possibly happen?
Johnny Nelson digs deeper into his concerns about the possible fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. He begins by expressing doubts about Jake Paul's intentions. Nelson is wary that Jake, known for his unpredictable and controversial behavior, might not stick to a simple, controlled script if the fight happens. He fears that Jake could take the fight too seriously, turning what might be intended as a light-hearted exhibition into something more intense, which could lead to things going wrong. Nelson then reflects on Mike Tyson's situation. He acknowledges that if Tyson is being offered a large sum of money, something in the range of millions, it might make sense for him to consider the fight. He understands that financial incentives can be very tempting, especially when the amount is substantial. However, Nelson is concerned that Tyson, now older and not as fast as he once was, might struggle in the ring. He notes that Tyson's fighting style, which was once powerful and aggressive, may not be as effective now due to his age. Furthermore, Mike Tyson former coach Teddy Atlas explains why he is a fan of Jake Paul, highlighting Jake's dream, vision, and determination to transition from YouTube to boxing.
Make his name in the sport?
I'm actually a fan of Jake Paul's, and I'll tell you why. The American dream. He had a vision, he had a belief. He went out there, he took all his YouTube, whatever you call those freaking things, all his YouTube followers. He went to a different platform, to a different arena. As I said, he had a vision for what he was going to do. And you know what? He had the guts, he had the determination to go out there and color in that vision.
Teddy Atlas explains why he respects Jake Paul, despite the criticism Jake has faced. He starts by acknowledging that many people dismiss Jake because they think he's only fighting older or less skilled opponents. However, Teddy points out that Jake has taken risks by stepping into the ring with experienced fighters, even if they come from MMA rather than boxing. Teddy emphasizes that Jake didn't just rely on his fame, he worked hard to learn the sport properly. Even though Jake is still improving, Teddy believes he deserves credit for how far he's come. Teddy also mentions Jake's fight with Tommy Fury, where Jake lost, but fought fought competitively. Teddy respects Jake for continuously learning and improving in the ring. He sees Jake as a tough kid who is serious about boxing and who has earned his success through dedication and respect for the sport. Atlas states that Tyson has earned the right to make more money and perhaps prove something even at his current age, drawing a parallel to George Foreman.
And look, Mike Tyson, of course, has earned the right at this point in his life to make more money, and to prove something, whatever it is he wants to prove. That even at this age, to do a George Foreman, to show that that Tyson's been a legend. So now he's got a chance to show that all the older people out there, you still can do it. George did it with cheeseburgers. I'll do it my own way. And I'll get in there with a guy and show that in Tyson's way, Tyson was brought up to respect his sport.
Atlas asserts that Tyson sees the fight as an opportunity to represent an old-school champion. Regarding this, he added, "I'm going to show that even at this age, a guy who wasn't in the game from the beginning, a guy who's not truly a fighter in his mind, is not going to beat a guy who was born to be a fight or who was brought up to be a fighter who was brought through that journey. A guy that crosses over from somewhere else is never going to be a former champion who's been in the business basically since he's 12 years old, so it's interesting." Boxing promoter Eddie Hearn calls it sad that 58-year-old Tyson might fight Jake Paul, risking a loss, all for money.
Fan, and Mike Tyson's one of my favourite fighters of all time. But it's a big event, But I find it quite sad that someone that's achieved as much as Mike Tyson is fighting at, what's he, 58, 50, something like that, and who could lose to Jake Paul. But money's money, and money does.
Eddie Hearn talks about the possibility of Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson. He starts by saying that, as a hardcore boxing fan, he wouldn't have wanted to see this matchup, even though Tyson is one of his favorite fighters. He thinks it's a big event, but doesn't like the idea of Tyson fighting at nearly 60 years old. He admits that he wouldn't have wanted to see such a fight if it had been suggested to him years ago, mainly because of the massive difference in their ages and career stages. Hearn acknowledges that the event is significant in terms of media attention and spectacle, recognizing the entertainment value it holds for fans and the general public. However, he feels uncomfortable with the idea of Tyson, who is nearly 60 years old, stepping into the ring again, especially against a much younger opponent like Jake Paul. Hearn also touches on Tyson's broad appeal. While Tyson might not resonate as much with younger audiences, Hearn points out that Tyson is still a global icon, recognized and respected by people of all ages around the world. Hearn tries to balance his criticism by acknowledging that he doesn't want to be seen as a hater for expressing these concerns. He understands that some might view his comments as overly negative, so he softens his stance by wishing everyone involved in the event the best of luck. Tyson indicates that for this fight, he'll go without his usual cannabis use, describing it as going pretty raw and naked.
Normally I do, but at this particular fight, I think I'm going to go pretty raw and, naked.
Yeah, without all...
Tyson talked about Jake Paul and how he's grown from being a YouTuber to becoming a boxer. Tyson admitted that Jake Paul has come a long way since his days on YouTube. He recalls seeing old videos of Paul at 16, where he was just dancing around, not really doing anything serious. Tyson finds it surprising that this same person is now his opponent in the ring. There were also rumors floating around about the upcoming fight. Some people were saying that they might use 18-ounce gloves, which are heavier and usually used to make punches less powerful, or that they might wear headgear, which would protect them more and make the fight less intense. Tyson firmly denied these rumors. He made it clear that this will be a real fight, not just a lighthearted exhibition. He said if you look up the definition of an exhibition, none of the things they're doing will match that definition. For Tyson, this is a serious fight, and he's going in with the intent to win. Tyson shared that he has a strange personality where he faces his fears head-on. He explained that whenever he's scared of something, he forces himself to confront it. This approach is what pushed him to get back into fighting. Tyson admitted that he was over 100 pounds overweight and 53 years old when he decided to fight again. Despite his fears, he committed to it. Tyson also talked about how fear plays a big role in his life. He confessed that right now, he's scared to death of the upcoming fight.
And that's my personality. Like right now, I'm scared to death.
According to Tyson, this fear is necessary for him to perform well. He believes that if he didn't have these feelings of nervousness and fear, he wouldn't be able to go into the ring and fight. Tyson sees this fear as a sign of victory because it pushes him to succeed. In an interview, professional boxer Terrence Crawford explained that he has a lot of respect for Jake Paul since he is training very hard in the gym.
Day night.
I did.
What can I ask, as one of the best in the world, what'd you make of it?
I think, like I said in the interview, I think Jake is getting better. He may need to work on his stamina a little bit, but for the most part, I gained a lot of respect for Jake because he's not a YouTuber that's just boxing just to box. He actually trains and actually want to get better and actually have got better.
Terrence Crawford was asked if he has any interest in the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, to which he astoundingly responded that he is not going to watch the fight. Bud Crawford explained that Mike Tyson has done a lot for the sport of boxing, and he doesn't want to see him get hurt against a young kid. He further explains that Mike has health problems at this age, which adds to the fire. Even though the fight is about money or entertainment, it is still dangerous for Mike. Moreover, Terrence Crawford praised Jake Paul for his boxing style and complimented him on his hard work because he is doing everything like a professional boxer. Crawford pointed out that it's possible for him to earn a cruiserweight title in the coming years. Critics, on the other hand, jump on the opportunity to fight him, but then they get beaten. Terrence said that Jake is in the learning process and he has only 10 fights as of now, but he will gradually rise up the ranks. It is important that he takes time to grow and climb up the ladder gradually, and once he starts competing with a better competition, then he will start winning belts. Former MMA fighter Chael Sonnen expressed his beliefs on the Mike versus Jake matchup. He said that Mike Tyson is chasing the glory, and he may just end up beating Jake Paul.
Mike Tyson came out, and Mike Tyson is supposedly has a fight with Jake Paul coming up in a number of months. Now, I never really overly believed that, but this interview that Mike Tyson just did made me start thinking, okay, this thing is more real than perhaps a hater like Chael thought it was. Because Mike Tyson has come out and said, I know if Jake Paul fights somebody before he fights me and he loses, I don't get the opportunity. And I really want the opportunity because I think I can beat him.
Mike Tyson never got the chance to fight in the pay-per-view era, where millions of people can watch the fight simultaneously, and he never really received the same recognition as fighters of the modern era. Chael is convinced that Mike is fighting to attain glory, and he would enjoy beating up Jake Paul. Tyson wants all the attention for himself, which is evident when he said that Jake Paul can't hurt him because he's not large enough, nor does he have the right positioning in boxing. Former boxer Roy Jones Jr. shockingly remarked that it's going to be really tough for Jake to survive the initial rounds.
And to enter in the ring with Mike Tyson, it was an exhibition, man. What do you think is going to happen when he faces Jake Paul? It's not going to be an exhibition. It's going to be a pro fight in Dallas, Texas.
It's going to be tough. If Jake Paul can survive 3 rounds with the extra weight he's put on, he may have a chance, but he's going to survive them first 3 rounds.
You think he's going to survive those first 3 rounds?
I don't know. That's yet to be seen. That's why we're going to watch the fight.
Although Roy Jones did not get the chance to fight the great Mike Tyson in his prime, he did get the chance to fight Mike in an exhibition match in 2020, which was considered a draw. When Roy received the call to fight an exhibition match with Mike, he was overjoyed because he wanted to feel how it was, getting hit by Mike's punches. He further added that even at this age, Mike has got the power, and it feels like a horse is kicking you, so Mike's punches can be very devastating if they go to the head. So what are your thoughts about this situation? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.